What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Well, welcome if it's your first time here. You know, guys, this used to be a really great country, and it used to be pretty much a free country. And it's had its ups and downs, and just like everything else does. But overall, it's been one of the best places on the face of the earth to actually live, to grow up, to work, to have a family. However, you know, in the last few years, we've seen the country taking a really drastic downward slide. I think it's been on a downward slide for decades, perhaps even a generation, if you look back through history. But it's been ups and downs, you know, and that's the way things usually goes. Is it is when you look at most countries that has collapsed, you know, they've been ups and downs and gradually collapsing over time. And the United States have been doing that for a long time. However, here in the last 20 years, it's really sped up. And here in the last couple of years, in the last year especially, we've been on a rapid pace downward. On a rapid pace downward to a downward spiral to a country in the very near future that none of us will recognize as even being connected to what we remember in the past. It's depressing, guys, it really is. And you get to thinking about things, you know, and the more you study, the more you read, the more you have an open mind, the more you actually look at what's going on and not just listen to the CNN or something like that, and actually research, dig deep, and find out what's actually going on and see just how corrupt, how evil, and immoral that the powers to be actually are. And they're also turning a lot of the citizenry into the same evil, corrupt, heartless individuals who are selfish for themselves and who don't care anything about this country, don't care anything about our heritage, don't care anything about what the country stood for at one time. And a lot of the people still stand for that, what the country stood for at one time. However, you know, the people who are in power, the mega rich, the foreign influencers that are in this country and influencing inside this country, they don't care about this country. They don't care about the people. All they care about is power, control, and profitability. It is more of a company now than it is a country, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. And you start watching the news without those rose-colored glasses and look at alternative news sources and start digging deep and finding out information about what's actually going on and not what you're just being told coming out of the television, or as I like to refer to it, the idiot box. If you do your own research and see what's going on, you know that we've been lied to so much, so many lies, so much manipulation, so much persuasion to get people to follow along and to believe what you're being told. And we see that more now, like I said, here in the last few years. The decline is speeding up. And if you look at any empire, take the Roman Empire for example. It took the Roman Empire hundreds of years to completely collapse. It's like the United States, it was up and down, and it would have its low points. It would go up some, low points, lower points, and it took it a couple of thousand years to actually completely collapse. And a lot of the things that we look at history, what happened there with the Roman Empire, we're doing here in the United States right now. And like I said at the start of the video, when you start thinking about these things and start seeing things for what they actually are, you start getting sort of depressed and sort of disgusted. And I've kind of been that way here today, just thinking about some of these things. I've been working out here in these raised beds, moving that dirt into those raised beds, and just thinking as I've been working and had to make this video because it's weighed heavy on my heart to come here and talk to you all about what's been going on. You know, we see where people are completely immoral. They don't know which bathroom to use. And it's hard to say what you need to say on YouTube because of the censorship. But there's so much going on, so much stuff that is just, when you think about it, is just complete sickening. And so much corruption and such a power grab. It is amazing. And now we see this national debt that keeps going up and up and up. These stimulus packages. We see the border wide open with everyone coming over, and the economy, the national debt is just completely out of control. And there's no doubt about it, we're going into hyperinflation. Anyone that does any research and any critical thinking can see that's going to be the case. We're going to be going into, we're in the midst of inflation right now, but in the next couple of months we're going to be seeing hyperinflation, I believe. It could be 6 months to a year, but I'm thinking 2-3 months. We're going to start with this hyperinflation because we're already seeing inflation, and we're already seeing supplies, demand for certain items, out demanding the actual supply for those items, and it's all a perfect storm for hyperinflation to start. And they're talking about another stimulus package for infrastructure, and this stimulus, and this ain't a few $1 million. This is not a few $1 billion. It is trillions upon trillions of dollars being added to the national debt in months. Instead of taking decades to add trillions, they're doing it in months. They're at a breakneck pace to see how fast they can crash the economy, I think, cause hyperinflation and cause as much pain and torment as they possibly can. And we have reverse racism in this country that is, it's hard to believe how bad the reverse racism is in this country. And you can't say much about a lot of these topics on YouTube because, like I said, you get the videos banned, the videos taken down. But there's definitely reverse racism in this country where you target a racial group to give them money for farming, for starting businesses, and you give out that money solely based on the color of people's skin. That's reverse racism. You know, when you have things going on where one group of people with one skin tone can have all kinds of organizations, clubs, churches, television networks, all kinds of things, that if someone that had my color of skin tried to do, you'd be called a racist. You'd be shut down quickly, be demonized, and completely destroyed in the media, in the courts, everything would completely destroy you. Whereas if you are a different skin tone, then it's all okay. And you can do whatever you want to do as far as hate towards another race, someone with a different skin tone. You can do whatever you want against them, say whatever you want, and it's not considered racism. But you take the other side, if they do anything that even resembles anything that could be even considered racist or even racist thoughts, and they are completely attacked, destroyed in the media. And it's disheartening. We should all have equal rights. It should not to be this group has this set of rights that are above this other group over here. Everyone should have equal rights. There should be no privilege as far as privilege goes, as far as having extra special rights, extra special protections. Everyone should be completely equal. If this group commits a hate crime, it should be considered a hate crime. The same as if this group did the same thing. It should be equal for everyone. Everyone should have equal rights. But right now we're seeing people with my skin color being racist against, having reverse racism against them. It's not right, and it's getting worse. And like I said about the last stimulus, where they are giving money to people who start businesses and farms and things like that based on their skin color. If you have a darker skin color, then you're entitled to this, and you'll be the first to get this. But if you have a lighter skin color, then you're tossed away to the wayside. It's getting worse, and it is, in my opinion, it's on purpose, because we know it's on purpose, but I don't think it is to actually help anyone. It's to drive that wedge in deeper. They want that wedge between, black, white, Hispanic, white, and Hispanic, Christians, Muslims. They want to drive that wedge between each group, each different skin tone, against different religions, against different states, against different everything. They even try to drive a wedge between men and women, because they want to keep that wedge, to keep that tension, because they keep everyone fighting, then they can take control easier. They can control, manipulate everyone easier if everyone is divided and fighting, and you got your mind on all this stuff is going on while they're over here implementing their agenda. It's really something. And right now, like I talked about in the video yesterday, they had the shooting, and we talked about them going to try to bring in more gun control measures. And we knew this was going to happen, because it always does. And we have Biden threatening now to use his executive order pen to write up more gun control gun laws and gun bans and things like that. In my opinion, Biden can't make an executive order to ban any type of firearm or anything like that. He might do a few minor things with executive orders, but as far as actually banning, like AR-15s or semi-automatics or 30-round magazines and things like that, he can't do that by executive order. At least I don't think he can. He would love to be able to. We'll see what he can do, because he has it planned. But this isn't the last mass shooting that we'll see. These things come in at least threes, and over the next couple of weeks there'll be at least a couple more, in my opinion. Because that's the way it usually works. You look at history, when these things have happened, there'll be pow, 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 usually three. And that gives them more fuel, more gasoline to throw in the fire of wanting more gun control, to make that flames burn higher, to get more attention, to get more public outcry. And they take a small amount of public outcry, and they will multiply that through the media to make people think that everyone wants these gun bans. They tell you in these articles that overwhelmingly people in the United States support an assault weapon ban. No, they don't. I've met very, very few people who actually are for any type of firearms bans. But of course, I live here in Tennessee, where most people are pro-gun. I think these polls they do, these news organizations do, and then publish these results. I think the polls they do is right there in their office and with their immediate family and friends. They never called me. Have they called any of you guys? I doubt they have. But anyway, guys, just try not to get down, because it's definitely easy to get disheartened when you think of how the country's going, financially, morally, and just completely declining into a third world country. And you open your eyes, people who opens their eyes and actually sees that, it gets discouraging and it gets depressing. But the important thing is to, number one, to keep your faith in God, to pray hard, because, guys, there's a storm coming. A really serious mega storm coming. And we're going to have to stand strong. We're going to have to stand with God. We have to keep our faith. We have to pray. And we're going to have to fight what's coming. The best way I know to do that is to pray to God and to prepare, to get ready, to be as self-sufficient as you possibly can. Because, number one, the more you prep, the more you do, the more prepared you are, and the less dependent that you are on this system of things that they have going on. They want everyone to be completely dependent on the government. That way you have no choice but to do whatever they tell you to do. They want you completely dependent on government and completely disarmed. So you have no way of providing for yourself. You have to hold your hand out and wait for the government to give you everything that you need. And if you don't toe the line and do what they want you to do, then they'll take that away from you. And that's the way they want the government to be ran. Just like China, they want to make the United States into something resembling China. But guys, keep your faith in God, pray every day, and work towards your preparedness. Because, like I said, the more prepared you are, the less control you have. If you're not having to wait for their handout to stand in their bread lines, then you'll be more free to do what you want, and they can't control you as easily. Never be disarmed, no matter what laws are passed, no matter what executive order is signed. Never, ever be disarmed. And another thing that prepping does is, like I said, it gets depressing knowing everything that's going on and being knee deep in all these things as far as the research goes, and actually seeing what's going on and knowing what they have planned, what they're trying to do. It gets depressing. However, if you stay busy prepping, building your self-reliance, working your garden, working with your animals, working with your property, working with your food storage, studying, learning survival skills, it will help you to not be so down and depressed, because you know that you're actually doing something, you're being proactive, and you are learning how to do different skills, different things, and you're setting up infrastructure to make yourself more independent and less dependent on the federal government. Like I said in other videos, guys, the federal government is completely lost. It's corrupt to the core. The deep state runs deep, and there's no getting the deep state unentrenched in the federal government. It's not going to happen. Donald Trump was in there. Everybody said he's going to drain the swamp, and we see that the swamp actually drained Donald Trump. It's too deep, it's too corrupt, and it's going to be there until the country completely collapses and crumbles down to something resembling the Roman Empire. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed the video, give it a big thumbs up. Thanks, guys, for watching. I'm Creekmore out here. I'll see you guys next video, hopefully.